It was a good day to trade. I was pretty much done in the morning, like maybe 25, 30 minutes in. I don't know what time it was. It was pretty good. I did catch some runs up here when I mentioned that I'm long. So I did catch this 41. I think it was like 4.6 to about 8. So I did sell some of those. That was pretty good. On the bigger picture, kind of did what we expected it, right? I think we talked about it night before. I don't know. Did we have a what? Man, I've been extremely busy with a lot of stuff. My time is flying by. I don't know when is Monday, when's Friday anymore. So did we have a watch list last night? I believe we did, yeah. So here, I mean, expected happen, right? December 14th VPOC. I mentioned that there's a really, really high chance if you go over this level that you're going to be going to that. And, you know, did they extend it? Meaning, like, did they take time to get there? Yeah, of course, right? I mean, there, you know, when we say move's going to happen, it's just not going to go there. But this was a pretty good signal that we are going to get there, right? Did anyone catch any like stopping volume candles today? Did you guys pay attention to that today? Because there was quite a few.
I did. I didn't trade them though.
The moment SPY came around 400.
Okay. So I would have, you know, when I started looking at some setups here, you had some here. It wasn't significant, but this one here was pretty good here. I was watching this one, and then I was able to actually get in on here as well. Here and here, I was able to catch a move. Does everybody understand why I gotten in here? Actually, I added a little bit here. I added a lot here. Does anyone know why?
Big candle, little volume.
Okay, what else?
Price making higher high after making
Failure high, previous week.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So remember what I say about the moves that are important, the ones that you want to catch. If we break a key level, let's say that, you know, VPOC was an important level and you break above it and you're not able to hold, and then you dip below and then you do this, this is the ideal short. But same can be said for the upside, right? So we know this level here is fairly important, right? I mean, it's 2 levels in one. So here, you know, we popped above it, you know, you create a falling wedge. And here you dip below it, but then look at the candle that you set up here on 5 minutes. That's a fairly bullish candle. So they're really not allowing price to break this level, the 428 that we had. Well, at least I had it in my chart. Then you go below, you reclaim, and then this candle here, I was like, okay, well, this is it. I was like, this is going to cause the run to go all the way to here. And I think I wrote that to you guys that I don't know if Makari's on. I know him remembering that I said, if we hold this level, we're more likely than going to hit 477. And I mean, obviously we had some fight here with the bulls and the bears. Not really, actually, when you think about volume. There's no volume here during the day, but they were able to get it, you know, up. So this was a really good entry for me, just because, you know, when you think about, you know, you have a higher high, you have a lower high, you have a, you know, lower low, so you have a falling wedge that's connecting, right? So if you think about this, and I don't care about the bottom one so much here in this case, but whatever. I'll try to draw it perfect. Then you have the top, right? So if you can draw this way as well, which in this case, it would look like a channel. What I did at that time was more, you know, I would say like this. And if you take a look at this, okay, well, I got some here. I was anticipating that I might have to add some at what level? At what level would be the next add in this contracting falling wedge? What level would you add if it continued down? If you're playing along.
Value area.
Yeah, this would be a level. I mean, this was a big level previously. If you guys look here, this was a level here. This was pretty good level here. So I would have added probably in this range again if it did fall out, you know, take my stop loss here and then watch it go down. And then I would re-add and see if that trade's successful. Remember, it's not for me knowing where the market's going to go. It's for me trusting my risk management that I will get that 3-to-1. If I failed here, I would have taken the loss and then I would have re-added here. I mean, why would I sit from 426 to 417 and see the contract go from, let's say, 4 to 2, or probably even less, right? there's no reason to that. I'll just take a stop loss now, re-add, maybe something closer in the money if it plays. But this was my buy here, re-add here. And then I also had some here. So here, I mean, they made it really boring. And I think I wrote in it's lunch hour. I don't know why you guys are trading this. And when I say these things in chat, I'm not saying it to challenge you as a trader, like you don't know what you're doing. I'm just giving you my perspective. If you want to trade this, like if you think you can make money in here, in this little range that they're giving you, by all means, I mean, just continue trading. I really don't, you know, it's your money. It's your rules that, I don't know what's going on here. It's your rules. So if you want to feel like you're trading this right here, this tiny little range that they gave you, if you even include the VIX, then by all means go for it, you know. It's just not something that I look to trade here because you have to be super quick. Can I trade this? Yeah, I can trade this in the range. You can, you know, sell the top, buy the bottom, and so on. But you know, you're talking about 455 here to, I don't know, 446. So 10 points on ES is good. Was I looking to sit through the lunch from 11:55 till 125 and trade that range? Probably not. Then you guys see what they did. They popped over it, and I did not touch this rectangle. You guys have my link, so if you guys think I changed any of this, you can check. You're coming back for a retest. This is your first entry, at least the way I treat these clouds or, you know, lines that we draw. This was my first re-entry here, and look how ideal was that. This was almost perfect. You broke out of this and you came back. And I would say if you grab this, you know, smaller fibs here, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a relevant fib here. And there you go. Pretty interesting, right? What does it tell you this? What does this mean from the fib perspective? Sunny M001, what does this mean? So you got an answer? I am in a calling out mood because I see some of you guys. Some of you guys are pretending to be learning. You really need to be learning and taking some notes and writing it down and kind of looking at the chart, spending time with the chart. Seeing it one time on the chart, seeing me do it is not going to do you any good until you get it. So who knows the answer, I guess. Maybe he does not know and does not want to speak up. Besides Dumpster, you don't have to answer.
That's the 50% fib re-entry.
Okay, but did we bounce at the 50 or what did we do?
No, you stayed above the 38.2.
Did a single
Which is very
candle
bullish.
close below the 38.2? Remember, you care about the candle close.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was the 50.
Yeah, no, the 50, it tapped the 50, you're right, but the candle never really closed there. So for me, you're right, it bounced there, but this is indicating the trend is going to be really strong here. This meant immediately the trend is going to be pushing higher, much higher than this. I mean, here they hit this liquidity, they trapped the people right here again. The buy side liquidity, you see them, they took it out and then they went the giant candle. I mean, whew, like they literally killed some people here. And this was a pretty good day. I mean, when you think about it, it traded right off the levels. All the levels were intact. If you think about these levels in between, I don't really care too much that it rejected here and that I didn't have a level there. My goal wasn't this level here. My goal was 477. Okay. So that, you know, you trade the levels, and the best thing you can do as a trader when you're trading, a lot of you guys, if you look at your logs a little bit and you analyze them, and that's the importance of having a log, is some of you guys let your losses go too long, and your winners, you get so excited for some reason and you cut them immediately. And it's like, okay, well, didn't you have a plan? Like you had a plan and then you didn't execute per the plan. If you would just execute per the plan, and even if you don't oversize, right, if you just play small contracts, you know, if you took, I don't even know, if you took a contract here, if somebody has time or on toss, when we are at 40.50, so let's say you grabbed it here at 120 and you grabbed, I don't know where SPX was at that time, just grab a contract, you could have made probably 300-400% from this move up here. I think probably even more. So Fibs wise, how do we find the support for tomorrow, for this move here?
38.2.
Say it again.
38.2.
Well, I'm asking for the swing high, swing low. How do I find it?
From 40.28 to 40.77.
All right, so let's see. So that's kind of pointing to this level. What's the next step for you to do to find confluence?
FVP from low to high. Like lower low to, sorry, from where it started the imbalance.
Okay, so what is this telling us, guys?
It shows the POC is close to 0.382, so that's the first point from where it can bounce around
Exactly.
40.58, 40.60 area.
Yeah, so right here you guys have a confluence. So this would be ideal spot to get a bounce, right? If you lose the 38.2, I would guarantee you that you're gonna go to 6 points below. Anyone want to take a bet? Dumpster, you want to take a bet on this?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Shorty, when you say, like, when you lose the 38.2, which is 40.58, so once you lose that, you wait on the retest, correct? Or if it's lost, and then that's your next
There's
anticipated
usually
area.
a high chance that if you lose this one right here, and you know, if it depends how you trade. Remember, if you're going on smaller time frames, like let's say you go on 2 minutes, you can catch the retest. They will give you a retest of a key level. You just have to assume the candle that drops below on a retest the first time, you take that candle.
Okay.
Okay, just like, you know, if you think about, you know, so let's say, I don't know if this level was there at that time, so I can't really use this. But let's say if you look at this PD value area high, right? So if you look here, when the candle broke here, this was a pretty nice candle with a lot of volume. When it came back here, you know, you would have lost this one, and that's okay to lose. If you had a stop loss, let's say you got in here, in some cases, right, this was 435, so 7 points on ES. That's depends how heavy you trade, right? Having a stop loss somewhere below here is not too bad. Below the low of the day, that's pretty secure. So if you went in here, right, and on this retest here, but this candle was pretty massive down, and let's say you had the stop loss right here, then you're. But then look here, let's say you're like, okay, well, I see this, and they give you a cleaner kind of tap here. You went above it, and you're coming back here. You can re-add there, bring this average a little bit higher here, you know, lower the cost. Or if you wanted to add really low on the day on the bottom of the body, sure. But this was a really good entry here. You broke above here and here. This one fails. This one works. And for many of you, it baffles me. Like, why don't you take a stop loss here? You got in on a retest and this didn't work. And let's say this was your stop loss right here. Why not? Either you're setting your stop loss wrong and you're like, man, it can bounce at this level. Then your stop loss is below that level. Don't ignore your stop loss. Either respect it here. If you use this as a stop loss, I don't know, you know, let's say you use this as a stop loss here. Just get out. And then wait for another retest. When it breaks in, get in, and you can put another stop loss somewhere around there and see. Because then the only thing you have to worry about is your risk to reward, guys. So if you get in here and, you know, let's say this was your here, this is the move you're trying to catch right here. You guys see this? This is the move you have to catch. It doesn't matter how many, you can fail 3 times, catch this move, you're break even. Do you guys understand that?
Yes.
Yes.
Probabilities. It's probabilities, guys. It's nothing else. Hey, it's not right or wrong, is it? Hey, did this setup go on my edge on the 51% with me or not? It didn't. Okay, cut, close, wait for the next one. Next retest. I'll go long here again. Did it go? Nope. And it doesn't matter. I mean, you don't have to be a technical trader that understands everything about the markets. And this is the weakness of Dumpster. He wants to make sure that every piece of environment, every piece of setup, that everything's aligned before he gets into a trade. And how many trades did you miss today, Dumpster?
4 or 5 easy
Yeah,
ones.
there we go. Easy. Because his mind, he's an analytical guy, and he wants to make sure the logic, the setup, the volume, I don't even know what all he looks at, right? He has too much to make a decision, and then basically he suffers from paralysis. He's paralyzed to the point where he can't pull a trigger, and then if he's challenging himself with all those analysis, man, should I not? It's there, I have a level here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I promise, Dumpster, if you change the behavior and start drawing these on your chart when it happens and cut per plane of 3 to 1, and you do it for a week, I promise it'll change you. So if you want to give it a try and log it for a week and just do it, hey, I'm going to get in. If not, I'm going to get out here. And even if you lose 5 trades, you just need 2 other trades to work. And you're not the only one. You know, I look at some of the people's logs, the statistics in the logs, and some of you guys, I mean, you're just cutting the winners too short. It's like, oh, I made money, let me cut it. And then the losers like starts, man, I'm long here, but okay, well, I won't cut it here. I'm not, this is not looking like cutting. I shouldn't cut it here. It's gonna bounce here. And then it gets to that, you know, to the point of not coming back where you're down 90%. You're like, maybe it'll bounce from here. It doesn't even matter if it bounces from here, guys. Your contract is under the water. Your contract really would need like a miracle to go from negative 90 to positive or to even break even.
Yeah, I've been there. There's no way.
To convert, let's say your contract was $100 and it goes down to like, let's say $10. Do you guys understand the return you need to get there back?
Insane.
It's not 100%, guys. It's 1000% return, right? I mean, it's impossible to get that. You can get lucky once or twice, but that's not trading. That's called gambling. It's random. So for all of you that use, you know, does everybody know how to calculate risk reward if you don't use TradingView? Is there anyone that doesn't?
I don't.
Okay. Who else? Anyone else? That's okay if you don't. I'm gonna cover it.
And my problem is I don't use TradingView.
That's okay. You can calculate. Who can explain how would you calculate? Dumpster, do you know how to calculate it?
Huh? What was that?
Calculate your risk to reward.
Oh, if you don't use TradingView,
Yeah.
math. I mean, if you're looking to get 8 points, then sacking 2, there's your 4 to 1.
Yep. It's basically a ratio, right? So if I'm getting in, and I'll give you a quick visual. If my entry was PD value area high and my stop loss is here. So this area right here that's red that you see, if you take the difference between these two, I guess in this case it would be 3 points. Okay. So if this is the risk here is 3 points, right? That means how much is the other one? I guess I shouldn't even have to look at it, right? You guys see that?
9, so 3 to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's 3 to 1 trade, and that's the risk reward. If I'm willing to lose 3 points, I need to make 9. And I can do this, right? I can lose 3 trades in a row and win 1, and I'm good. So it's the probabilities, right, that you can play with. And that you guys really need to do it. And I think, Dumpster, this will change your mindset if you really start believing in it. Where you put this on your trades and you don't get out early and you let it go to your stop loss. Sometimes I feel like I hear you and I see you. It starts breaking me, I'm out. Like, I'm immediately out, and that was Macquarie's problem too.
Yeah, my thing is I take profit too fast and I leave my stops too tight, and then they get stopped and then they run, and
So
then I don't have anything.
wouldn't this resolve your issue? Don't you think?
The same here.
Well,
I have the same
You're not
problems
the only
too.
That's what
one
I've been
that's
doing with brackets on ES. It helps me. Plus, then I can. My problem is I quit paying attention and then miss my entry. But if I set it on ES, set bracket for 4, take profit 2, so that way, if I take a 2-point loss somewhere else, then I'm covering that. You know, I can lose twice, win once, gain that back. Plus, then I have 2 runners at break even, and I just leave them open.
I would suggest you switch your method on ES to 3-to-1. If you're trading 2-to-1, that's
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, but once again, the 2-to-1 mainly comes from the differences between, you know, value area low in my different levels today. So
Yeah, no, and I totally get it. So if you think about that, then that's a good point. So let's say this level here, right? I mean, you're breaking this point, you're coming back for a retest, which was great, right? So let's say if this was our long,
yeah, I missed that one today because I had that mark.
this was a really, really good one.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if this
yeah.
was our long right here, you know, you can figure out your stop loss, right? Based on some of the levels that we had, right? And I don't know where the heck I got 459. Maybe I got it somewhere. I really don't know where I got it. What is 459? Oh, that was the POC from earlier. Sorry. I was like, oh shit, like where did I have it from? This was this right here.
Yeah, today's POC.
Yeah, this. I know I didn't have it. I'm like, okay. So I mean, if you think about it, right? So if this was our entry here, you had that, you know, you had some liquidity here, and then you had liquidity above as well. So the only thing you had at this time from a swing high to swing low, you had some fibs around here, right? So let me kind of delete this one. So you can see something really, really interesting here. You bounced off of this fib almost perfectly, right? Which is important. If you reclaim the fibs of down, then you can use them as support. Does anyone know how we could have projected the higher fibs, like for the next levels? Of any other patterns here? Do you guys know how to find the next level? I'm pretty sure I can find this level right here that rejected. Does anyone know how with the fibs?
The extensions?
Yeah, the only thing you will have to do is, so you look for swings. You look for swings that take out previous highs or lows. So if I look at, you know, from this swing right here, let me, sorry. From this swing low to this swing high, is there a previous lower high that's taken out? There is, right? There's a lower high that's taken out. So I would validate this swing for me as a target, right? So what I would do is, if I want to find the fibs higher, if I want to find the targets, then I grab it from the top to the bottom. And where do you guys think we rejected? So would this be a pretty good target right here?
Yes.
This is an excellent target, guys. You just have to use the fibs to help you, right? So this tells me I'm already at 323, so I can even lower my stop loss here and still have it. So this trade would have worked out perfectly. And my
Shorty,
1618 is also here, but I knew they were gonna hit 477.
I'm sorry. Where did you pull that from? The high to the low?
Let me go change to the empty screen so you guys are not confused a little bit. Sorry. Okay, let's cover the basics on this. I'll use this so everybody can see it. Where's the day here? Today, Thursday. Yeah. So here's this. Okay. So if you look here, this is the high that we said, you know, hey, lower highs, you're taking it out with this swing. Typically, if I want to know where something is going to reject, how do you draw the fibs? If I want to know where is a rejection level, do I grab from high to low or low to high?
High to low.
High to low. So in the beginning of the day, I could have used this, and you could have taken some hits here on this. So we went above 68.2. Once you broke the 61.8, that was a pretty good short, and then you made a low here. So if you look here at 10:30, this was the IBL right here, right? And then they closed below it. So that 88% rule, did it work today?
Yeah, to the T.
Until the end of the day.
No.
Guys, the IBL did not work today.
Oh no, not the ABL. Until you said the 80%. Sorry.
Well, the 88% failed. The 12% won today.
That's because it had 3 candles below it and then it went above it.
That's correct. Yeah. So if
Got
you
it.
think about it, we opened here, which was, let's say 9:30. This is the low between that time period, because at 10:30 we were here somewhere high, and the high was right here. So this was your IBH, this was your IBL. You had candles close below this, right?
Sure.
And then if you look at the body of these candles, look at this. They came back here, they came back, confirmed these orders, and then went higher. So now with the fibs, I just wanted to make sure you guys got this today, because this is it happens only 12% of the time. So now if you grab the fibs, if I want to extend them, I can just grab from here to here, and it'll project my 127, 1618, whatever fibs you like. So here are the fibs, and here are the hits perfectly.
Shorty, why won't you catch the high from 10:30 to 11 o'clock? Because this way you're going back, right? We always, don't we, when we draw the fibs, we go forward in time rather than backward in time?
You can, there's no rule to that. The fib queen does it both ways. If I wanted to, I can go grab it from here to here. What I care about is the symmetry of a move. I care to see, all I'm trying to do is replicate this move from here to here and give me the Fibonacci ratios of this move. A lot of people put those rules, hey, you can only go backwards. Even if you go backwards here, right? So if you go from here to here, there you go. Then you got that, and then you can, if you want to draw clusters, you could also do that. You could go from here to here. And look where the clusters are, what's happening there.
Yep.
Shorty, at what point did you know that we were headed towards that VPOC? And particularly, why were we going to hit it today?
Well, it was last night in the watch list. As soon as we broke the 448, which was the value area high, I believe, for November, that meant they're going to look for the new balance and look for price discovery. And the closest magnet that we had was this. There was nothing else in the area that was probably going to work. This one needed more points. You have to think about this, but at the same time, you get a feeling for, do you guys still use the script, the OEI script, the sequence updates daily? You guys look at it, the Max Payne?
I do.
It's good to look at it on days like this. Well, something's changed recently, right? And what changed was the, we have 0 DTs pretty much every day. So that adds a lot of money making ability for market makers, so they can really see these levels as well, and they can play along with them. Because these VPOCs that we have, I guarantee you some algos have that program that they have to be driving the price. The buy algos turn on and they're like, buy it to the VPOC. And then once it hits the VPOC, they're like, scale down and get out. Pretty sure some algorithms use it. Because that means what does a VPOC mean from price perspective? If you had to describe it, I was at this price and I left and I never came back, right? Isn't that pretty much what it means?
Yeah.
And when you have a price like that, when you have a price discovery that you left and you never came back, most likely the price is going to be driven by algos to that point. So that way they can balance it out. right? So they created an imbalance. They left some orders, something was unfilled. And these algos are like, okay, well, we got to fill these orders before we either go down higher, lower, I'm sorry, or if we go higher. And then there's another one here that we have around 41, I would say 40. And that's a level that I'm watching now. If we are able to break, let's say 4100, I guarantee you this is going to happen overnight. You won't get to see this move. It could happen actually next week to the upside. And I would start scaling into some swing puts at this level. Not heavy, because I do think if they somehow fabricate FMOC and you know what they're going to do, they could pump this to about 4,300, 4,400. But that was the reasoning behind that. Does everybody, do you guys understand the fibs and how you can use them intraday, at least for projecting the levels? I'm able to project from this swing high to this swing low. Where's the level? If you want to go from left to right, that's okay. If you believe in that, then here you go. You can go from here to here, and now I'm projecting levels. Just know that this is a very, you know, for intraday levels. If you think about the move, you know, just be logical when you do it. You're expecting 41 points move at 27% to 41. Do you understand, CK, why I grab the smaller ones now?
Understood. Yeah.
The probability, if you grab the ATR, the true range, I don't know how often we go 60 points, you know, on SPX or ES, up and down. So that's why sometimes when I look at this, you know, was this a pretty wide open? Yeah, 40.68 to 40.27. So about 40 points was the balance. So if you know, if I'm looking at the 4 balance, they got to recover the whole balance of 40 points to the upside. Well, you know, if I'm trying to grab it from, let's say here or somewhere, I don't expect to catch that full move. So that's why I grab something smaller as well.
The last 10 days have been 61. Has been ATR.
Exactly. So 60 points. I mean, yeah. So from here, 60 points, take 27% of 60 points. What is that? That's what's for 15, 15.4,
16.2.
16.2. So, you know, on top of this, add 16.2 points. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. What's the ATR going to tell me? Most likely it's not going to happen, right? So, but if I grab this move, I get my target and I can safely say on this entry, I get out here. If I have a runner, I get out here. And that would have looked like, you know, that would have looked great.
Where'd you go, Shorty? Just now?
Hold on, I'll start over. So it doesn't matter from where. It matters that you understand the concept, right? So we can project any of these. If you think about it, from this point to this point, you took out the high of the day in this case, right? So if I take this fib,
Yeah.
and I go from here, what are we hitting? 1272, and then, you know, I don't know, let's see. Yeah, you hit the 1618 as well. On trend days, the 1272 and 1618 should be hit very often. And if you guys look at the fibs on the orbs, you know, even if you looked at it today, what did we hit today? Did anyone pay attention to that? No. It's also there. Okay. So you can use the fibs. I mean, look for patterns, right? Look for these. And then, you know, if you're looking for a bounce, you go from bottom to the up. So in this case, I could already tell, you know, if I was looking for this, that it's going to be the 382 bounce here, and it was, right? So if you look here, this was the bounce. I'm grabbing that move from here to here, and it's pretty aggressive retracement and a bounce, and it took out that previous high there as well. And then even if you grab from here to here, you can use some fibs to help you, you know, navigate how you can enter. And you can use fibs for support resistance, right? I use it in confluence with VP because it gives me a little bit more confirmation so I know where the volume was. Okay. But I do love fibs. I mean, fibs is one of my favorite support and resistance tools besides VP. So It really is a solid tool to use. And then you can use the same thing on, higher, smaller time frames. If I wanted to project, this move, let's say, I don't know if this is a whole thing is a move. For me, it starts here, ends here. If I want to project this thing and see where it bounced, well, let's take a look. And what do I usually tell you guys? The ideal, the bounce, aggressive bounce, 382. I don't really rely on it. I will rarely buy a 382. Like, it has to be as, you can tell everything's going well. All the indexes are going up, that there's no ad disadvantage, meaning that it's not a ads going down, we're ripping higher. You can add a 382, but usually I prefer not to, just because it's a very aggressive play. Usually if I can catch it in this zone, like where we, bounced in this case.
618.
This 618 and 682, right? This is a pretty good zone. I would call, many call the zone the golden zone, especially the trading wars, the experts on fibs. They call this plus the 786 the golden range. Well, if I add this to be my golden range, I mean, what are the fucking odds you're gonna bounce from this? Pretty high, right? I don't know if I have that much risk tolerance to go from 3929 or even 618 to 3868. That's, to me, that's not a golden zone. For me, this would be the ideal golden zone is here. If you're gonna catch a move, use these moves. Use the 618, 682. You incorporate that. Now watch this. You add this move. And you're just kind of following the trend to see. And here again, you bounced rare at 618. Right on. So hopefully this, does this make sense or no?
I would definitely understand a lot more.
Yeah, I have to practice it, but yeah.
And, if you grab somewhere from here to here, we just enter that golden entry as well here for puts based on this move down. So let's see how we react in this area right now. It'll be really, really interesting to see how we react to it. Okay. For a person that did not know how to calculate it, the risk reward, did we explain that? Do you know how or no?
No, can you go over it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So let's say I'm getting into a trade. Well, let's use the same trade here. Let's use, oh, not that one. Sorry, we bounced here somewhere. Let's say we're waiting for this to be our buy-in period, 452.5. So if that's our entry, if you don't have the tool, let's say your risk is 452, so that would be 449.5 would be 3 points. Okay, if you're risking 3 points only, that's okay. Okay, so if this is your risk, the difference between these, come on, is 3 points. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
So right besides this one and this one, that's 3 points. So in order for me, my risk is 3 points, right? So I'll put this here. If my risk is 3 points, my reward has to be what if I want to look 3 to 1? You just take the 3 reward and you multiply by 3.
9.
So it has to be 9 points. So from your entry that you got in, I'm looking for 9 points. So if I got in here, 750 and boom. So now my exit is right here. And you got that tap immediately on the first try. So if your risk is 3 and your reward is 9, you can divide that, right? And you would get 3 to 1. Does that make sense now?
Yeah, it does. Thank
Shorty,
you.
I had a quick question. Like, would you prefer the candle to close above your stop loss, or would it?
That's a tricky question, right? So if I get in on 5, I'm not gonna wait for 5 minutes to close below. I would go with something smaller. Because if you're dependent on a level to hold based on whether it's volume profile, if you calculate it correctly, right? If you're just looking on, previous structure or volume profile, that level should hold, right? It should not go through there because you should be looking at levels. If I got in here, and let's say I go here, well, I'm getting in here, I would be stupid to put it somewhere in here. Does everybody understand why? If I got in here, my stop loss cannot be anywhere in between here.
Well, under PLC.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put a stop loss anywhere in this range. For me, it would have to be slightly below, just because I want the people that were buying here above this POC, I want them to defend for me. It's almost like little soldiers. I want to send them there to fight these guys, and hopefully they win the fight, and the candles go higher. So for me, then it's easy to calculate, right? If my entry's here, well, let me do this. If my entry is here, bless you. So if my stop loss is here, right, and I just need a 3-to-1 ratio, then I'm going up to here. And this would be my target now, 462. So a point and a quarter higher than what we initially had, right? So I'm increasing a little bit, but I also increase my target, right? And I would have hit that target as well. And whenever you're setting these targets for your profits, and this is turning more into something else, but that's okay. Seems like some of you guys need it. Just know where your previous highs are, right? If I'm getting in here, anytime you come to these liquid zones like this one here, where you see these wicks like this one, that means the candle at one point was here, right? That means there was a lot of liquidity drain to push it back down.
Yeah.
So know that they will come back, and most of the time they will tap that liquidity again, and they might drain a little bit more if there's anything left, and they did, right? They grabbed some. So if you're getting in here, just know that you should be, if there is a high, previous high round, you should keep that as potential target. If your 3-to-1 is suggesting, let me look at this. If your 3-to-1 is suggesting that you need to go up to here, and your stop loss is here, okay. Is it doable? Yeah, it's definitely doable. I mean, you have liquidity to the previous highs, but you're gonna have some mini heart attacks as you go through it.
No doubt.
Right? I mean, these candles right here, these are not like for weak hearts, man. Like you go here, you have a bullish candle, and then you get a little heart attack. Your contract goes down 60%. You're like, oh shit. And
Oh, yeah,
that's where traders get in trouble. Have realistic targets, right? I mean, this is my stop loss. I'm looking 3-to-1 trade. I'm not looking for more than that. And here's this, right? This 3-to-1, and now you watch. You let it do the work for you. And if you have some runners, right? Then use some fibs, whether you want to use fib extensions or whatever, use them to extend it. And here we didn't hit any on this fib. Well, grab the low one, but we still didn't hit this one. Came very close. Yeah, I don't prefer fib extensions over regular fibs, but that's okay. So does everybody feel a little bit more comfortable, at least with the top process on entry, what to look for? But you have to plan these guys. Rumi, for instance, your weakness is this is Rumi trading, and I'll demonstrate it. Oh man, look at that big green candle. Man, should I get in? No, I should not get. Okay, I'm gonna get in here. And Rumi gets in here. What was Rumi's plan? Where are you gonna get out, Rumi?
I'm taking a loss.
Right from this POC that was here. So for you, instead of being so FOMO and you got to make the trade now, let the trade come to you. Have a plan, right? Design the plan. Where do you want the bounce? What do you want to see happen, right? Like this. If you want this to break, and let's say you want these candles to be your retest, well, would that be an entry as well? There's a break. There's multiple retests, and you have no
Yes.
reason. I'll probably put it somewhere below this. There's a POC that you could use here as a stop loss. Put it somewhere right below it. So you have four. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But my point, like that retest right there is when I get afraid and I think it's going to go lower and I don't get in, and I don't know how to shake that.
I just explained how to shake it. It's 3 to 1. That's your shaking method. Look, if you get in here and it fails, you put your stop loss with the risk reward 3 to 1. You can fail 3 times, Rumi, and hit the fourth one, and your accounts break even. You hit the next one and you win, and you're up now. That's
Got
how
it.
you shake that off. But you gotta have a plan. Okay? Because this is how you trade. And most people that make money in the market trade based on probability. Guys, somebody's eating chips or something. Please stop. You want to trade with probabilities and ratios, right? And that's, obviously what the fibs are. A lot of people use the 3 to 1, and there's other methods that people use based on ratios, right? Some people, solely believe in like the 50% fibs, right? So they will take this whole move here and they'll be like, man, once you get to this 50% fib, you're going to crash. And at this point, when you're thinking about it, the premiums are going to be inflated on the bull side greatly here. As we approach this 41.55, which we will hit, I guarantee you, we're going to get a little bit inflated calls. What do you think if you're a market maker? And I'm telling you, hey, there's a bunch of these stupid people. As you arrive to this price, you can increase the IV, and these stupid people are still going to buy it. In other words, I tell you, hey, we're going to create a fake shortage of shoes. And as we're going to create some floods, some fake rivers are going to come in and blah, blah, blah. We're going to increase the prices of rain boots. And then we're just going to sell them on the street right next to them. And these people will buy it. That's literally how they see retail traders, honestly. Like they're waiting for you to come in here and to buy calls. Every single time, they're just waiting for you guys to get the FOMO. And FOMO will start very soon. We broke this trend line here. We're still not above this trend line. I don't know. I see Twitter about some DMA, EMA is 200, 300. Every fucking EMA is, we're over it, supposedly. And to me, that doesn't really mean much. The market doesn't trade of EMAs, trades of price and volume. So, what they mean is not really relevant. What I know is that we're coming up on a, I would say, second largest shelf we had since sell-off. It's about to be tested. Right here. And if I go to my chart here, do we have anything around this range? Do you guys see anything interesting? If anyone wants, you have the odds in your favor. I'm giving you $100 bet that we're gonna reject here. You're welcome. Take it. We're gonna run up there, but we're not gonna go over this.
41.50.
41.52.5.
Perfect.
Remember, I believe in my levels. They're not gonna close above it. They might push it above it, but they won't close above it. Okay, so next, simple, right? I mean, we already have a lot of these levels that are right on, and I could say these levels that we've had for the for the November value area high, December value area high, and some of the PD POC, everything that's PD, right, moves daily. But some of these levels in confluence with each other, like this one right here, was great. Some of the levels here that you had, like PV, previous weekly value area high and 7 days value area high, of course, they're going to be close. Logically, they're only 2 days apart. So you know, I don't think about this as a major combo level, but it's a confluence. That means the 2 extra days, the value area was still in that range. Does everybody understand why I care, or why do we care about these value area highs and lows being marked? Somebody might say, man, you guys have so many lines. Yes, I care about the lines, but what they tell me, for instance, in my brain, what I see for right here, does anyone else see it this way? This is in my brain what I see right now. Previous week, value area high and low is this. And I'm like, okay, well, if you get in, this is the value area you're going to be trading in, potentially testing these. If you get in the PD7 value area, well, then you're talking about this. This was the PD7 value area. And what did we do? We got in, and where did we go? We went to the extreme opposite. Somebody asked me today, and I don't know who it was. I think Sunflower was you. You asked me about the value area high. Is it the same as something else? And I can
Oh
just
yeah,
look back.
the previous day high and low, because I wasn't sure how to
Yes.
label that.
Yeah. So let me answer that. That's no. That the answer is no. So previous day high and low is this. So basically, where is this? Maximize. So this is our previous day. You find the high of the previous day, which is this wick here, and you find the low, and this is your previous day low, as we call it PDL. And these levels are fairly important, right? I usually know where they are, and you can tell by the chart. But also it's on your script on the orbs. We added that, and PDC and PDO. So now if you look here, yeah, so this is my PDH and PDL. If bulls want to take control, they usually you want to see a continuation. You want to see them break above previous day highs and let it treat it as support, right? So go above it, treat it as support, and PDL is the same way. When we look at the session for 30 days, I'm sorry, for a single day, to see the value area and the volume profile, which in this case is here, you turn on your SVP, and here's the volume profile for that day. In this day that you just saw, the previous day high and low, this is how the volume and the concentration of the shares exchanged, or contracts in this case, where was the volume the highest? Okay. So in this case, it looks like it was the highest, in this area. They really exchanged a lot of shares here. But the value area, you see the white box, Sunflower?
Yes.
So if you see it here, right? Let me mark this as purple. That's what I usually mark the tops. My value areas are green. This here is called the value area for this day. For today, this was the value area. The extreme high of this value area is just called value area high. So if this whole thing is my value area, this is the value area high, and this is the value area low. That's all this is. It's the extreme high of the value area and extreme low of the value area.
So is it just where like the color changes? Because mine, I believe, is yellow and blue. And
Yeah. So you can change. I can change these colors. I mean, you should see. Catching Rockets has a bunch of colors. I can change this to be. I can change this outside to be green and yellow right here, and you can change to whatever you like, as long as you know the inside the 68%. I don't like these colors much. As long as you know the 68% is inside here. 68% of the volume is inside this little box that I just highlighted here. Let's highlight it purple. In this purple box of today's volume, 68% of volume was inside this box. And the highest value area high of that. So do you know what value area high means, or in value area low? Like, what does it actually mean?
the bell shape where it's like you said, the most volume traded in that day. It's going to be a support resistance, basically.
Correct, but that's your POC. Highest volume traded is your POC, which is the red line inside, or whatever color you have. When you're on top of the value area high, when you have a range day, when you're not having like these run through days on the D-shaped volume profiles, value area highs means usually the responsible sellers come in and they will sell it because they no longer find value above it. And the responsible buyers buy on the bottom of the value because they're like, oh man, this is really valuable here at this price. think of yourself as you're buying shoes. And I'm not trying to be gender about shoes, but you guys do buy a lot of shoes. If I tell you you have, I don't know, Christian Louboutins are on their, $4,000. Then I say, hey, we have a special sale. They are at $700. What would you think of that price?
I'm gonna buy
You would buy because the value of that shoe at this point, to your perception, is what?
on sale.
Well, the value and the price. So at this price, I find value. Value to price, is the value you're getting is high, the price is low. So when the price comes down, the value seen of that price of that shoe is high. But when it goes back up, you're like, man, I really don't want to buy these shoes at this price, because at this price, the the price is high. The value that I'm getting for is what? Is low, because if you wait patiently, you get them for much cheaper. So
Yeah, that makes
that's
sense.
hopefully you understand this, and others that struggle with volume area. That's the meaning of it. Most responsible sellers sell at the top. Most responsible buyers buy at the bottom. People that break these, what are they called?
Aggressive.
Aggressive buyers.
Initiative buyers
Initiative.
and
Yeah.
initiative sellers. And those come in on key support resistances. Those are the guys that help us. If you're shorting on momentum, those are the folks that help you. If you're shorting a support right here, you need initiative selling. And initiative means not more. It just means a little bit more aggressive selling than typical. And same for buying. You just need a little bit more, whether this was aggressive buying is yet to be determined. It's just that they tapped that level. 477. Let's see how we react. Okay.
All right,
So
thanks for explaining that.
hopefully that makes sense. I know I remember today, and I want to make sure you're not going around and thinking something else.
All right, thank you for that.
So in terms of shape, I don't know. Honestly, let me check 5 minutes, see if it's different. So usually what I like to do is look at these slightly different, like 5-10 minutes, just to see how different and drastic the volume profile changes. Pay attention to this one now. On 10 minutes, what do you guys see? It's a
B shape.
It's a P shape with 2 distributions, right? Maybe even 3.
Even 3.
Yeah. Let's check 15 minutes. Still the same, right?
Yeah.
Good. What about now?
Double.
Where's the POC though?
POC went to the bottom.
POC went to the bottom. Good job, Seth. So that's why sometimes you have to look at this through multiple lenses, right? And some people say, hey, is it better to use 5 minutes to find the POC? Well, I mean, you can, yeah. You can definitely do that. You just have to kind of go over the flow and understand the volume profile structures. Like if you looked at it here, from here, right? This was truly a sell-off, right? This was supposed to be a sell-off. We closed below this POC day prior. Then you went above to the high of the day almost. You rejected this high volume node here that was there. And this was a really, really good short. And I believe we shorted it here. I don't remember. This was a lowercase b, but it was compressed. And you left a high volume node and you came back and you revisit it. So there was a high chance confluence. If you short here, you can catch a nice move. And I mean, that's what happened. And it would close in a P shape. Then you come back here and you're looking still on 5. I'm just going to change this to about 10, 15, and then just pay attention if this one changes, right? In terms of close, what do you guys notice? Does anyone pay attention? Let me see. So what about the close in 5 minutes? You guys see this? We close right at it. On 30 minutes, where did we do? Come on, stop doing this. What about 30 minutes? On 5, we closed right at it. On 30, we were way below it. Right, so that's where, you know, you're not gonna have a, it's more of like an art and science, right? Where people are like, man, you can't, you know, CK not bringing you up about the fibs, you can only do this or that. There's really no hard rules. What you shouldn't do is draw so many lines on your chart using fibs that, you know, if you have so many lines, how the hell are you gonna know if you should buy or sell if they're like 15 cents apart? In this case, in the volume profile, the shapes matter, right? I mean, you have a D-shaped volume profile, you go above the value area, then you dump down, you close below. In most of the cases where the market is not heavily manipulated, this would signify that you're gonna stay here for a moment. And then, you know, you follow the pattern. As long as you don't break this level here, you're gonna go high, you're gonna go lower. But in this case, you know, they manipulated a little bit and they're able to push that higher, which is okay. You know, I don't care. I can't control the market. So I'm not going to try to control the market or influence in my brain that I can control the market and tell them that that the trade should go my way. In this case, they ripped above it and they changed the sentiment again. They had a P shape again. Then they had a lower P here. I would say, you know, not as strong. I would consider this P shape to be much stronger than here. POC is not as high. We close below it here. You know, you're really at the tippy top and you close right at it. Then, you know, you have another compressed, I would say almost a perfect D shape here, but you closed above it, but you tested the value area high multiple times, you know, above it here. And then if you change this to a couple of, you know, different candles, nothing really changes on this one. I went from 30 to 10. So analysis still stay the same, but you closed above value area high. And then all of a sudden they have a gap down. So swinging, you know, based on these, it's been fairly, I would say it's rough to swing because they've been taking everything out and playing the opposite. Unless you play the opposite, that's okay. And then here you ran higher, now you ran higher again, and I don't know, this looks a lot weaker. It looks more like it, you know, between these two, it looks identical to me. So if you guys look at this one and this one and this one and this one, to me it looks like a very identical setup. The only thing is the close here was different than the close here. So tomorrow, if we lose this POC here, which we need to update on our levels, which is a fairly important level, the 4060, if we lose that level, there's probably a high chance that you're going to be going back, I would say, to this POC right here. So most likely 427 will happen if you're to lose that. And then you can just grab, so what are we in? This is Monday here. And you see why we might go there. This will be our current POC on 4 days.
So you're on regular trading hours.
Yep. Well, here, I'll put the POC. Shouldn't change it drastically. I don't see them as very active lately. Okay. It shifted it 3 points and 25.
And the day before also shifted way down to 39.88.75.
Which one? Sorry, this one?
That one that you're highlighting, yep.
Yep, yeah, I think that's because the gap down, right? Yeah. The gap down came into play. But still some awkward shape today. Needless to say, this is a really weird shape. Usually I keep my left screen regular. This one is usually extended, so that's why.
Hey Shorty, how do you get the kind of like the columns that divide the days on your?
You right click, settings, and session breaks under appearance.
Oh. Okay, perfect.
Yep. And sometimes it gives me a visual. What I like to do, so like if this was our, you know, this is, let's see, this is Monday if you do extended. So this is pretty much, what is this? This is Sunday right here, right? Because it's 6 o'clock on Sunday that we are starting to trade, but the volume profile treats it as Monday. So until midnight, I'd say somewhere around here, right there, this candle. For maybe a day or two, I like to mark this as I mark it usually as Sunday high. TJ probably marks as always as high. And then this will be my Sunday low. And now if you look at this, it gets a little interesting how much time they spent in the initial level here and how many times they came back and danced inside of it. Danced, I meaning price action was stuck.
I would like to correct you that you're drawing Monday to Tuesday, not Sunday.
Monday to Tuesday.
That's your
No,
Sunday.
Sunday, sorry. What was I going off?
Monday to Tuesday.
Okay. I'm so confused. Was there? Okay. All right, here you go. I think the logic is still the same. I draw this, and if you start drawing this, you will see how well, honestly, you kind of will respect it. Especially in the first 2-3 days, it will go here, especially if you're not having these wild imbalance runs all the time. They will tend to come back, and you can back test this to the left a little bit. You will see that the Monday open or Sunday open, whatever you want to call it, they will come back to that level. Whether they run away from it, they usually tend to come back to those levels. And I usually mark that. And usually if there's a gap in the morning, like if you have a nice gap up open or something like that, you can mark that gap that they have there, and it's usually filled. In the week, they will fill the gap. So, futures open at 6 p. What is this? At 6, if they had, they went higher, they didn't really gap here. But if they open somewhere here, then you would draw that gap in between. Usually they fill that gap. And let's see. So here's this one. So they traded. They went up a little bit, came back. I guess right at open, they came back to that. They dipped below, treated it as resistance, reclaimed it, almost came back for a retest and continue higher. So it's not a bad habit to kind of at least add that. At least I do it, and I keep attention. If there's a gap, make sure you mark that on a morning session. If they gap up on Sunday, I would mark that. And you can also find some gaps if they have gaps overnight. You can see if there is a gap when they open and see like, hey, where's that gap? Like this one here. Let's do this. You guys see this gap here? So there's that what I'm talking about. So there's this gap here. So you can kind of take a look at it and look how much time they're spending inside this gap now. Here's this gap, and they filled it. They filled it perfectly. They came back. So you gap down so much, and then they slowly fill up. And then here's another one. You see this. They spent a lot of time there. Tiny little guy here, not really a gap. Here's another one. And you can go on and kind of backtest this, but usually these gaps get filled rather quickly on ES. So just a suggestion. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But I definitely identify them. Okay, so let me just go 30
I'm
minutes.
definitely gonna practice with those.
Yeah, but it's good to backtest, just make sure that it works and gain a little bit of confidence in it. So this one goes here. You guys have this, TJ, keep me honest here. At this time, I usually get tired and I start fucking up on levels.
Sorry, I looked away. Which levels are you looking for?
PD value area high, PD POC, just to make sure I don't fuck up. Should be good here.
Value area high 40, 62, 50. POC 40, 59, 75. And value area low 40, 37, 25.
Yeah, see his accuracy is deadly. Okay, yep. So you say 37 on Val?
Yes, 37, 25.
Okay, all right. So that's a pretty good range tomorrow if we can have it. Ideally, what we want to see tomorrow, me personally, is I want to see them make a little run here. I want to see them, if they can retrace to the 50% between here and here, and then lose this PD value area high, come in here. I don't short here. You guys know why not short here?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna short kind of below here, and then you will have opportunity to catch 11 points here. So if 11 points is what I'm gaining, now I'm gonna ask the person that was not familiar with the risk reward. I want to get 9 points from this entry here, 459.75. Where's my risk exit? Where's my target? What levels? Where's my stop loss? Where's my target for profit?
Stop loss would be 40.62 and your profit would be at what, 40.50? I mean 40.40. I mean, no, 40.50, excuse me. Yeah, 40, because you're at 40.59, right? Yeah.
My entry is 459.75 to the downside.
Yeah.
Where's my stop loss?
40.62. Right? I
Anyone
mean,
else
yeah.
want to help out?
40.62.50.
59.62.
75.
75,
Yeah.
okay. I was
No.
going for mathematical. I wasn't going for the level. Just making
Oh,
sure you
okay.
guys got the math. But hopefully you guys got it. So yeah, I would put it, personally, I would put it here just in case they come in and tap that value or high. I guarantee you they will. They will tap this inside tomorrow. And then, is this my reward? No, I don't even have to go that far. So let's see how far it takes us. And it takes us up to here. Now you look at this and now you have to be logical, right? Does it make sense for me to wait up to here to take off this trade?
No.
I would take
It's a
it off
strength.
somewhere up here, guys. I would take it off of this level. So this would be the 208. And that would mean if I want to, have a 3, I would need to lower this to be somewhere around here. I would still, personally, I'm telling you what I do, I would still keep it as this and I'll take my 2-to-1 trade. Because for me, this is tiny range and I'm just looking to scalp it. There's not a lot of points for me here. You're looking at 6 points gain and I'm looking at 3 points loss. So 2-to-1, not too bad. If this wasn't here, if this value area high was not here, then I would treat it a little bit differently. But also, just looking at volume, you had a massive, ton of volume here. So if you look at your prior there, there's a lot of volume at that level, right? So it's not a level that I want to mess around with. It's almost like it's called the break-even zone, the in-between. They will get in and get stuck in between this range, and they could probably trade this tomorrow. And just remember this, they can trade between these two levels tomorrow for hours. If it's not this one, then it could be between these two. So it could be 10 points first, 6 points. They will expand it to 10 points. They could stay here for a while. Okay. So if it makes sense, right, you can use your statistical approach to stop losses, like, right, what we talked about here. You could use levels in addition to statistical and use logic, right? If I'm shorting right here below, I want to put at least above the value area high. In this case, let's say if it was here or whatever, I'm on 10 minutes now, slightly above it so I don't get stopped out over 25 points or a quarter of a point. before it continues in the direction that I want. And that's the worst feeling you can have. Okay. So tomorrow, honestly, you know, I do not expect a trend day tomorrow. This right here, the recovery that they did, this was the trend. Even though we had a massive, you know, dump here and then they cleaned it up. They went as high as 477. I do not expect a continuation to the upside. If we do break 477, you have 485. I would say most likely you're going to be hitting this range right here. If you're able to reclaim 477, I'll go long on a retest of it and see how the candles form. First one might be a trap, second one might be real, and then they take it to 496, just like they did here. First one fake, came back, go up.
Then 47 is more.
And as I pointed out earlier, it's still a VPOC.
Which one's a VPOC? This?
Yeah. It's actually 25 cents more.
No, you have a wrong level.
It is. Dead accuracy.
No. I
It's a
trust my level.
VPOC at 40.77.25.
Isn't that a failed auction at 77?
It is.
30 minutes?
There's a failed auction here, but also
Can you explain that?
Yeah, it is, Shorty. It is a VPOC.
No, it's not VPOC. Remember, you draw. What do you do with the levels?
Zone.
30-minute SVP
You
daily.
put a range around it, and the range has been tapped. It's not a VPOC.
Is it a VPOC?
You extend it. It's a VPOC.
Hit the range. Don't treat it as a VPOC.
You
Well,
put a
you can treat
range
it as a
around it.
VPOC, but don't cry tomorrow then.
You put a
Okay,
range
yeah.
around it, and the range has been tapped, and it's
Yeah.
not a VPOC.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is not a VPOC. Not anymore, at least for me.
Yeah, I had
Shorty,
it.
I think you can look at it also on SPY too. On SPY, it cleared. It was like,
Yeah, it cleared and came back
Yeah, it
under. This
cleared.
is actually a really bearish setup right now.
yeah, we rejected it perfectly this morning.
Oh yeah. Oh, they hit it twice already. Oh man. We might be in for a treat.
Say bearish setup because we closed below POC.
Well, whenever you go above something as magnetic as this was, right? You came here and there were sellers obviously here. And I don't think it's an accident that you rejected this level here at 404. And then you came back below, you went above it, and then you came below, and now you're tapping from inside. This is called a bearish money shot. This is setting up for a downside. Is that correct, Catching Rockets?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Is this a bearish money shot in terms of levels?
Yes.
Yeah. You go above it, you come back, and you retest. And where's the weekly cloud? Do you have toss up?
Beautiful short entry there. I can open them really quick.
Yeah, if you don't mind, check the. Well, I'll scan them tonight sometimes or tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
And I'll be trading live tomorrow, guys. So we'll hop on and see, and we'll kind of talk through this same way we talked through it today, just to make sure you guys are understanding at least the trading and letting the trades come to you, especially some people that suffer from FOMO. I know there's a lot of you. I'm not going to single point anyone, but you really, really need the trades to kind of play to you, not you chase them, right? Market makers, hedge funds, they don't move their buy orders. If a hedge fund says, you know, hey, I'm buying a stock right here, do you think they're like, man, never mind, I'm gonna buy here. Never mind, I'm gonna buy. No, they don't do that. They just leave that here. And if you check level 3 data, right, a DOM on level 3, you will see sometimes a massive limit order sitting there that you guys call heat map. Those are the passive orders sitting there, and sometimes they're ghosted, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're real. And that's the game we play.
There's the cloud, Shorty.
All right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're going 42.82. Yeah, we're going to 42.26. Is that 26?
49, 42, 49. You're looking at
You,
the weekly?
your monthly mids right there.
Oh, yeah, 42, 26.
Yeah, I highly doubt they passed it. If they passed the monthly mid, you have quarterly cloud that's closed. Okay, if anyone wants to bet anything, I'll take the bet that you will not go over that level. You will not close above that cloud. Hopefully we can get a bull to bet. Yeah, that'd be really impossible for ES to close above that cloud. So we'll watch that. A good eye on the POCs here on the VPOC. Whoever brought it up, that's good. Yeah.
Shorty, can you explain the failed auction? I've seen many of those, like on the 5 minute,
Yeah, they
and I
happen.
question myself what to do with it.
Yeah, failed auctions usually means they're going to be revisited. Like for instance, if you look on the bottom, we failed and we came back. So if I tell you, we're selling what do you like to buy, Rumi? Let's make it personal.
Well, like you said, we like to buy shoes.
Okay, let's go to shoes example. Okay, I tell you, hey, we're selling, I don't know, Dior shoes. They're 500, and somebody raises their hand. They're like, yep, auction, right? Buyer right here. That's how the stock works. Just think about it. It happens in split seconds with the high frequency system. Somebody's bidding, ask, bid, ask, bid, ask, and it goes super, super fast, right? I mean, it's algorithmic. It's insane fast if you guys see the back end of it. So they're bidding fast. At one point, the auctioneer or whatever they're called, he's like, hey, who wants these Dior shoes at 405? Nobody raises their hand, and they're like, okay, 404.93, and there's a one buyer that comes in. It's like, I'll buy those Dior shoes at that price, and then from there, they're like, okay, well, anyone go 405, but nobody buys it, so the wick doesn't move. Then they're like, okay, well, does anyone want to buy here at this 404.76 level? And somebody buys it, but they're not buying it as aggressively, so the price keeps going down. But we left this failed auction here. It's basically where we failed to conclude the price action. Nobody went higher to buy shoes above this level, so the auction stopped. It failed at this level. There was no more interest at this point. So usually the price, the bidder or auctioneer will drive the price back up. Be like, hey, anyone now want a 403? Well, remember, there's momentum traders. So the way they work, I'm like, okay, anyone going at 404.27? Then they start going to, I don't know, 404.47. And now you have these momentum traders, right? The retail especially. They're like, oh man, 447 broken. Oh, this level broken. I'll go along here. Then another guy has a different chart and he's like, I'm going to buy here. And what did they just do for this failed auction to get filled? To be resolved, it needs to come back to it, right? So they usually come back and resolve that failed auction. And I would say, I think CK, you look at failed auctions, I would say 80% of the time they will revisit the failed auction. Like, I don't know why that went like this one here, revisit it. Why did it do that? Oh crap, not that. Does that make sense for me? Your Dior shoes, nobody wanted to buy them above it. So the auctioneer had to stop it and he had to seek price lower.
Yes,
So
that makes
this is
absolute sense.
failed auction there, no more auction. Same thing here. And usually when you see a fail, like a strong sharp rejection off of the top or the bottom, right? That means it was a strong high or a weak, or strong low, meaning that there was aggressive people bidding for that auction for your shoes at the bottom because they are finding value. And now I guess they're not finding value here. So they're like, oh no, I don't want them. I want them a little bit lower. So they're probably going to drive this tomorrow if I was to bet. I would think they're going to come back somewhere around this level, I guess 401.54. There was a massive order by, it was outside investors, not US based investors at 436 today on SPY. So you guys should mark that level. So it was somewhere around here. Yeah, that red line right there. You guys have that level marked on your charts.
Shorty, when it comes to failed auction, on one time frame it would be a failed auction, but on the higher time frame it would be seen like a strong high. So in that case, what is to be then? What should we make out of it? For example, in 30 minutes it is failed auction, but if we go to 2 hours or probably 60,
Here's I mean, this is just a strong high here. It's not a failed auction, right? So in this case, what do you trade? Are you a swing trader, day trader, 5-minute trader? What do you trade off of? So if you're trading 30 minutes, then you would not consider this a failed auction. This will eventually become a liquidity sweep, right? If you're looking on 5 minutes, well, I would say this is a failed auction here, and most likely it will come back. So I would think if it's a strong high rejection and on smaller time frames, any below that, like here 15, I would say 10 will be the lowest. So on anything below 10 minutes, you have a failed auction. On 30 minutes, you have a liquidity potentially sweep and a rejection. I would say that that's a confluence that they're going to come back to it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Shorty, and I was looking at it earlier today while the markets were open. I know that there's a failed auction at 4185, if I recall correctly. I don't have my charts open up, but
401.85.
4185 on the 5-minute chart.
There's one there, yeah.
Shorty, could you
Right
please?
there.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
right
that
there.
one.
Shorty, could you please repeat that level on SPY?
4036.
Thank
436. We will close above that on SPY this week, just so you guys know. Yeah, we will close above that. Just keep that
Oh,
in
that's
mind.
2022 value area high.
Oh, is it?
Yep. I got 40, 35, 14. I'm probably off a little bit, but yeah.
Yep. Sorry, Island, if we cut you off. Yes, that is a failed auction, but this failed auction comes in with a lot of confluence. So me personally, can you call this a failed auction? Yeah, definitely. You can call this a failed auction, but it's coming in a congestion, right? There's really no clear winners of buyers and sellers in this area. So for me, as you're going down, you're overlapping a lot of candles. So whenever I see overlap, then this is just my brain, I automatically do this. And for me, this becomes a level potentially for a bounce. And then there's a little bit of overlap here. So if you were to just grab here, there's some shelves here that I would be interested for a potential bounce. And you see here, this is a nice shelf here, which is November value area high. So we could expect a bounce here tomorrow. And I would most likely go long here. I would go along here as well. And then since we did break this, the VPOC here and we were below it, it'll be interesting how ES opens tomorrow. So we'll watch this. And here we go. We are holding that previous day value high. And if you guys remember from the PowerPoint, there's guys remember the tips and tricks slide? Does anyone recall the bullet number 1? You guys recall this one?
Yep.
So what do you think can happen tomorrow?
80% rule to the downside.
Could easily happen
Yeah.
tomorrow. So it's something worth watching, right? We need to cool off a little bit. I don't know when they're gonna cool off, but this is, you're talking about, you know, you've been running since January 6th now, 20 days straight. I mean, you've been running, and overall, you've been running for a while. I would say since the bottom was put in, you're talking about 105 days of kind of moving up, right? So, and then if you look at some individual stocks, remember we talked about Tesla. This is still my plan on Tesla here. We peak above it, come back, you're gonna come here, I'll short it. If not, it goes to 180, I'll short it there. I did buy some TSLQ shares. So watch that. If we lose this level, if you lose 156.33, come back for the retest from the bottom. What do you guys notice when we were going down about the levels of support we had? We had none. So if you're compressing up to a resistance, and let's say this supply is good, and we are able to enter from here, same thing will happen. We're just gonna dump here. This buying here, you know, you can take a look at it. The buying is, how many gap ups did Tesla have? I'll delete everything so you guys can see it. I think they had a gap up like 3 days in a row. Not that. Do you guys know the 3 rules of exhaustion or 3 rules of gaps? Oh, I think there's a, don't I have an indicator of gaps? I think I have. So on this run alone, they've had 1, 2, 3 gaps so far. So there's a rule. If you're on a run and you have 3 gaps, it usually leads to an exhaustion. So let's see. The major, I would say the major supplies kind of like right here starting. So let's see how they do. I don't know what you guys think about this candle, but it's, you have a gravestone doji after running 60%, I would say. Is it 60%? Maybe 60 something. 60%.
Shorty, isn't the volume kind of saying it is a good run because that's also increasing?
Yeah. What about now? Hmm? Okay. The monthly here so far, I mean, you think about it, this is on the monthly, this is pretty good. They're picking up a lot more than here. They're picking up on the higher time frames. If you look at 3 days, which I like to check stuff a lot on 3 days for volume anomalies.
We have an anomaly here.
Really good anomaly here. So I don't know. What did Tesla change? What did Tesla change from 108 to 160 right now? What changed in Teslas?
Nothing.
They lost 3%
Margin
of
went
margin.
down.
They had price cuts.
Price cuts.
So which is going to be reflective in Q1, and then you also.
If anything, it's all bearish news. Like, what Elon has to come up with more money soon, right?
And then just pay attention as you're coming up here. What were you doing here? And what were you doing here?
Kathy is buying.
No, she can buy. Well, she probably made some decent money here, but just pay attention when she starts selling. And I'm pretty sure she's gonna start selling soon. I think he needs 3 more billions, right?
Sounds right, yeah.
So 3 billions divided by, let's say, 160. He needs to sell 19 million shares. Pretty good. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna catch some sleep. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be live. We'll start in the morning and go see how the price action. Hopefully they give us some nice range we can trade in and see if we can make some money.
Thanks a lot, Shorty.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Shorty.
Thanks, Shorty.
Thanks, Shorty.
Thanks so much, Shorty. Have a good night.